Hi, this is Iris, and welcome to Parapopulous. For today's episode, Spooky Stairs. Alright, so that's confirmation. It's Spooky Stair time. Welcome. So this article was originally published in December of 2015 in the Mirror, and it was titled Ghost of Henry VIII's Wife Caught on Camera, Can You Spot It? Now, all the links to the original articles, photos, and photo credits will be here, and links to my original blog post about it will be in the little information section. And go check out the pictures. So, this picture was taken in Hampton Court Palace. It was taken on a stairwell in there by a tour bus driver who decided, you know what, while I'm waiting for the people who are gone in on the tour, I'm just going to go pop in, take a picture. So he says he was very careful. He made sure nobody was in there. And because, he really wanted a nice shot, he didn't want anybody in there ruining it. But the thing is when he got home, there's somebody in the shot. She definitely looks a little spooky. I'll give her that. So he says, he was sure, absolutely positively sure there was nobody there. So we have to take his word for it. Because, we do. He was the only one there. I wasn't there. You weren't there. So it looks like a young girl. I'll give him that. Blonde hair. Now, the thing is there is a room in Hampton Court where it's known as a haunted gallery because there's been so many sightings, alleged sightings, of Catherine Howard. Now, Catherine Howard was one of his youngest wives. I think she might have been the youngest wife. And she and Jane Seymour are said to haunt the place. Now, this is also the place where there was a Skeletor figure caught on closed-circuit TV as well in 2003. And supposedly also Sybil Penn, the lady in gray, is there as well. This is a busy, busy place. It's 500 years of history. It had the death of Henry VIII's third wife, Jane Seymour, his fifth wife, Catherine Howard, who people believe this is, under the grounds of adultery. She was arrested and condemned there. So there's a lot of just energy imprint. Now, if you haven't seen the video, the link is also on there to go look at the video for the dressed up dude flying open the doors. You guys have probably seen it. As soon as you see it, my description's not doing justice to it, but that's the confirmation it's not doing justice to it. But basically it was closed-circuit television, and these secure metal doors just kind of fly open, and there's like a dude there who's either really outfitted completely spectacularly well, or this place is really haunted. Listen, 500 years. You get a guy who married multiple wives, sentenced most of them to death. Or, there was some major bullshit going on with them. How do you not have something imprinted? Now, whether any of these things are intelligent or they're literally just imprints. Maybe this is a poor Catherine after she's found out she's going to be... Guess what? You're not going to end up with much better fate than the woman before you. Maybe this is her, and she's at the top of the stairs, and she's like begging, and she's like trying to, we don't know. Is it intelligent? Is it not intelligent? Well, I don't know. I'm not there. But, she definitely looks to be a really pretty, blonde, younger woman in, I don't want to say a nightgown. But it's definitely not a nightgown like we would think, but it's a nice little frock. Let's put it that way. So, it's a gorgeous marble staircase. If you look at it, the picture, there do appear to be some orbs. Now, whether they're dust orbs or they're flares on the camera Or, maybe this is just other energy. I don't know. I'm not there. I deal with things by feel. So it's hard for me to sometimes be able to tell you. And I know a lot of people poo-poo dust orbs or orbs as being just dust. Like they are literally just dust orbs or bugs or something. So we have a couple options with this picture. Did this dude, whose name is Trevor Ty, did he miss somebody coming in up top? Is this a tour guide? Is this, I don't know, maybe they have reenactors there? Is this somebody who wandered in and they're checking a schedule? Or they're just overlooking to see, hey, why did those doors open? Who came in? We're not expecting anybody. Listen, I want to believe him when he says, I checked. I wanted a picture of this place. It's a beautiful place. It's historical. I wanted to go and make sure my picture wasn't going to be disturbing anybody or disturbed by anybody. And I can believe that. I mean, dude's there. He's waiting for his tour. He's just trying to make sure, I'm killing time. This is a really pretty place. You know what? I've never taken a picture of this. Let's go take a picture. Because it's really cool and it's gorgeous to look at. Why wouldn't he? I'm going to say that if this is a tour guide, she really needs to clean up. First of all, because her hair is down, it's loose. Her eyes, if you look in the picture, look black around her eyes. So somebody was out partying and didn't wipe her mascara off. And the outfit is, it looks like what you would call the undergown for some of the fancier gowns, or an actual, like a bed gown. I'm a bit of a history buff, so I can tell you, that looks, from what you can see in the picture, good. Now, there's this one thing I see there that I'm like, oh, well, maybe that's two people standing there, because it looks like a head next to her. But I think that's going to be a light or something. And that's the thing that I've been looking at. It's a carving, or it's a light, or something that's next to her. Because on first glance, that looks like a face. But you don't see the bottom part of the body. So, yeah, I'm kind of, I just, and then when you look at the close-ups of it, like, I'm trying to figure out what that is, if that's a piece on the chest or what it is, because it looks like a much taller man looking down at this girl, or young woman, and that's kind of like, I'm trying to figure out what that is. Because there is no body for that part. So, it's got to be a carving on something, I'm thinking. But when you look at the picture, you will very much see that, the questions. And I do recommend having a good look at it. Because, at first I thought, no, he just missed somebody. But, when you look at it again, and you take into the account the amount of reports that there have been from staff and visitors and workmen and residents who've all experienced really strange phenomena. And, this has been around for 500 years and a little bit. It's stone imprints, energy. I gotta go with it, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna run with this one as maybe this is Catherine. Poor thing, didn't know what she was signing up for. Oh, I'm going to get to be queen. This is great. My husband gets to screw around. I'll get to screw around. This will be fabulous. I don't really like him as much as I thought I did. And she didn't realize that didn't apply to her. Those rules didn't apply. And if you don't know about the history, I do recommend you check it out. They do have a really informative Hampton Court Palace. If you type that in, you can actually get a historic sort of blurb about it, just with factual historical information. So it kind of gives you the basis for perhaps what some of these things are that people are seeing. So, I want to look at this, and I think, what you have to say, whether or not this is real, it is a beautiful place. And I think we should all make an effort to really embrace history and go and, number one, learn from it, but appreciate it. Because, I mean, let's look at this with the details and the building quality and all that. Seriously, we need to appreciate this stuff more. That's all I'm saying. History, good thing to learn from, beautiful thing to appreciate, even the ugly parts of it. Because if we don't learn from it, we just repeat it. So, let's has he caught a tourist? Has he caught a guide or a reenactor? Is it a trick of the light? Is it matrixing? She's been seen here by security in this spot before. I'm going to say that's giving us some credibility. Her dress doesn't seem like something we'd see today. And her eyes, like I said, they look black around them. I'm going to say that's a point in his favor again. And it's been looked at, the picture's been looked at, it hasn't been tampered. I mean, that doesn't rule out somebody walking in, but it does say that he did not go home and try to insert a picture of a friend or girlfriend or wife or a sister or somebody into the picture and go, look at what I've got. So, point in his favor. Guys, here's the thing, and no offense to anybody when I say this, if we're all willing to believe in invisible people in the sky who look out for us, we have to be willing to extend the possibility to the fact that that is energy and it's a belief in something that we cannot physically prove. I'm sorry, I know we've all had these people of near-death stories and, meeting whatever deity it is that, you happen to personally believe in. Listen, I'm not knocking that. I say whatever gets you through the night, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, that's fabulous. So what I'm saying about this kind of thing is when we see these things, when people say, I've seen a ghost, this is another energy. This is another form of belief and possibility. And, I mean, if you believe in something like a deity and a heaven and hell, what bigger sentence of hell could there be than to be trapped for eternity? Seriously. Like, you want to say, oh, it's brimstone and fire. No, it's literally being trapped and being able to do nothing about it, in my opinion. Because you are literally caught in those events and you never, ever, ever get a break from them. That's horrific. That's absolutely horrific. So that's what I think sometimes when people say ghosts can't be real because God. Let's just use a broad term here, okay? If you put this in perspective of a heaven and a hell, this really looks like hell. You were caught here. Well, everything changes around you. You are trapped in the same thing. It's Groundhog Day over and over and over again, and you have no power to change it. Listen, some of it is all bullshit and fakery. I'm not going to try to tell you any different. There are people who are doing this just to get a rise out of people, just to try to make a buck. I guess credit to them for coming up with, an idea that I don't know. They're just jerks, the ones who do that. But that can't take away from the people who are legitimately having experiences, who are legitimately seeing things and hearing things and interacting with spirits or ghosts or sometimes the not good things too. I just think we need to be willing to be open to possibility. Because to me, in my mind, this is an associative thing. I have to be willing to entertain the possibility of encounters and contacts and ghosts or UFOs or Bigfoots or whatever. Because I also have to be willing to entertain the idea of there's something bigger than me. There's something more than this. And if the universe is all energy. This is just another form of energy. If we are all energy, then, who's to say that this isn't something stuck on repeat? I mean, if we're not going to deal with heaven and hell, let's go just to the possibility of we're all of energy. We all came from the universe. We're all part of the universal energy. This is just an energy that is caught here for some reason and repeating, or trapped here and paying penance. I mean, if you want to go that way. I mean, we have to be willing to entertain these possibilities. We have to be willing to entertain the possibilities of so many things that we're just not. And history should teach us that. The horrific things, the good things, the way we've evolved and adapted, and the things that we look back not even a couple hundred years ago, because let's face it, slavery was not that long ago. And most of us would look at that and say, that is so wrong. See, that's history. We learn from that. This is a form of history. Now, okay, it's a ghost history, fine. But if we look at the history around it, if we look at how it got to that point and why we don't rule like that, basically, anymore. I mean, pretty much, for the most part, kings and queens are figureheads now. I mean, they're really not running places. I mean, some places they still are, but... And I just think... I know we've wandered off topic, but we always do. I just think that if we aren't willing to entertain possibilities, then we aren't willing to learn. And that means we're not willing to adapt, and we're not willing to grow. That's not a really happy thought. And, I mean, if you look at some of the stuff that's going on now with people and certain things and views and, just the stuff that's going on in the world right now, you guys, start looking at history. Start paying attention. Start realizing these are patterns repeating itself. And if that's a pattern repeating itself, why can't poor Catherine Howard be stuck here? Repeating something over and over again because it was so friggin' traumatic. She's imprinted on the rocks, or she's stuck there because she doesn't know how to move on. I'm just saying. We have to be willing to entertain these possibilities. Even if you're not, listen, history is important. You don't want to entertain the ghost possibilities? Probably the wrong podcast for you, probably the wrong blog for you, I'm just saying, because I am. But go appreciate history. Go appreciate the history of how we got to where we are and why we need to continue to move forward and why we need to learn to be decent to each other. Not just the people that we like, the people that we don't like. The assholes, we need to ship them off to somewhere on their own, but that has to be a collective vote. That can't just be, I don't like you, you're an asshole, you gotta go. I'm talking, people like really ugly people who believe in really nasty things. We've got to learn. We've just got to. Now, maybe this is a really off rant, and I know it is an off rant for a picture of a supposed 16 or 17-year-old ghost girl in a castle, but everything's a learning experience. Miss Catherine apparently didn't get that what was good for the king was not good for the queen. And so it appears she's stuck, repeating a loop, or just trapped for whatever reason. Trauma, energy imprint, I don't know. But regardless of if you want to believe that, this is a beautiful place. History is amazing. Even the bad things, because we can learn from them. Knowledge isn't a bad thing. And if one day we can actually prove this to the skeptics and say, this is just energy. We're energy. This is real. There's people who are poo-pooing it and being like, oh no, listen, you're going to feel really, really on the wrong side when it does come out, when there is some way to prove that this is just energy. And because it is, it exists and it's real. And yeah, I can tell you from my experiences, I believe it's real. This particular instance, maybe it is somebody walking in. Maybe those little orby things are just dust orbs. Maybe sometimes it is just matrixing. But it's not always that. And we have to be willing to learn and grow. We have to be willing to open up these big brains of ours and use them. And, well, I mean, if poor Catherine had, she would have realized probably wasn't going to be able to pull off the same stuff that her husband was. I'm just saying. It's good to be the king. Well, you know what? It's good to be the queen now. Boo. We'll be back in a few. So thank you guys for all your support on the blog, on the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope to continue it in a much more timely fashion. I have a lot of plates spinning, but I want you to know that Parapopulous is important to me. And sometimes it's really difficult to find a story to write about and thereby podcast about later. But I want you guys to understand that I do want to continue on with this. It is an important project to me. And I just want to say thank you for all the support. And you know what? Thank you and stay amazing. And if you like it, tell your friends, share the link. And yeah, just thank you so much for being there and helping out. There is a Facebook fan page. The Instagram is really just there, but I mean, it does exist. There's a Twitter. There's lots of ways for us to interact. So thank you and stay amazing. I really do, truly do appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the podcasts and the blogs as well. Have an amazing day.